Hey, how's it going? This is Jerry with Writing Comics, and I'm here today with Scott Payne, the creator of Chaotic Flux. And do you mind if I give you an introduction, Scott?
No, go ahead, man.
So I got Scott Payne here. He is the ambassador to the United Nations with President Trump. He is the advisor to Elon Musk. He is the apprentice of Tesla. He is Scott Payne. I got a little echo there. It kind of missed me. He is
Yeah, I'm here,
Scott
man.
Payne. Oh, that sounds true to you, Scott? Not quite, probably. Most importantly,
Yes, yes, 100%.
you're the creator of Chaotic Flux, though, right? Uh,
hmm hmm Yep,
so,
that's right.
so
Very ambitious comic.
yeah, it's your passion project. I saw the 20 years on your campaign. I saw that you've been
Yep,
putting together the
yep.
the
Slowly building up.
concept for this. So I noticed last night on a Sweetcast stream, it looks like that you have got you've done enough streams by now. You've got the pitch down. So why don't you go over that pitch for us and just tell us
hmm
what the comic's
Okay.
about?
So, Chaotic Flux centers on a team called the Crimson Flame, who unite in the future to rid the world of mutant abominations that are taking over called Dread Fiends. And they unite as humanity's last hope for survival.
Okay.
There's six members in the team. There's a alien hybrid can form these that to form all types of different types of weaponry. Then there's also Soren, who's an exosuit pilot. And there's Strife, who is a big AI transforming mecha. And then a little later comes Nalaria, who's a fire-based mage, as well as Pagan, who's a plant-based mage. And I'm sorry, 8 foot tall swordsman. And the Dreadfiends themselves are these kind of genetically engineered creatures that were made as a food source for humanity to sustain humanity in the future, where food sources are very scarce because of massive catastrophic events that are happening with the weather patterns, as well as a great war that's being fought over land that's still usable. And so they create these things as a food source, but then they start to mutate on their own and grow out of control. And they start to turn against humanity and devour anything in their sight because they have this insatiable appetite. Just that they're always hungry because they need to constantly feed to sustain themselves. You still there, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I was just having some
Okay,
internet
cool.
problems, so I just killed the camera because
That's cool.
yeah, just to
That's
help
cool,
with
man.
some of the lag.
All
Um,
right. Let me
so
know if you want me to go in that mode too.
it's fine. It looks like it's doing fine now. Did
Okay.
so it's a because of the apocalypse, basically they created these creatures for a food source, and the creatures themselves become the apocalypse they were trying to avoid,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of that. I don't know if you ever heard of that. I think it's in Hawaii. They there okay, it was the birds were out of control, so they created or not created. They brought in I believe it was snakes to take care of the birds, but then the snakes got out of control. So then they got mongoose, and the mongoose got out of control. Anyway, it
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like
reminds me of that.
kind of like
Yeah.
the nursery rhyme about the old lady in the shoe. You know, she swallowed the fly, and then
Mm.
she swallowed. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Another fun analogy people have made is like they're man-eating cows. We made them as a food source, and our food's now turned against us.
yeah, it's the rise of the Brahmas. Did
Right.
did you so tell us about I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna go look at the campaign now. So we'll
Okay.
talk about it. Uh, all right, so here we are at Chaotic Flux. We'll watch the trailer. Can you still hear me there?
Yeah, I
Um,
can still hear you.
okay, so let's watch the trailer. I think the sound is on. Hopefully. So half human, half human, half alien. So how did that come about?
So in the storyline, where it picks up, it's about 19 years after this event happens, where this alien race called the Krakarin start to invade invade the Earth, and wanting to take all of our resources for their own, and so then they start to try to wipe out humanity, and they almost do it. It's like really comes down to the wire, and then all of a sudden, though, the Zakaran, they come in out of nowhere and save us. And so then, of course, we form this kind of friendships with, alliance with them, and they start to integrate with our society, sharing their technology and their cultures and what have you. And they even start to fall in love with some, humans and have children, and that's the result of the alien hybrids. Well, the Kakaran then find their home world and attack their home world. So uh, the Zakarans, they um, decide to go back to their home world to, fight that battle to save their home world. And but they decide that it's better to leave the hybrid children at home or on Earth because they think they'll be safer here, and rather than take them into this, war. So they leave them on Earth, but then the children start getting hunted down by a organization called the Order of the Purging Hand, and the Purging Hand believe that anything not of Earth should not exist, shouldn't, just shouldn't be around. So they start to hunt down and find where the children are. Uh, and well, actually, before this, I should say, the story, they started attacking the Sarkarans themselves. That's also another reason why that they're kind of getting where they're going to leave the Earth anyway, because they didn't feel like it was safe for their kind anymore. And the Oil Purging Hand is they're a bunch of not militaries, mercenaries. So they're military trained, and they're actually part of a secret organization that's been around for centuries. I'm not going to say what that is yet because it would be a spoiler, but that's coming in the story too. It gets revealed what they actually have been, and now they've evolved into the Order of the Purging Hand. And in issue one, Zathara is housed in a military facility along with the other children like her to protect them. And the Purging Hand find the facility and infiltrate it and start taking out everyone inside to get to the children. But also in issue one, you get to see Zathara's first run-in with the Dread Fiends and how she deals with them and their present time. And then in issue two, it picks up right where issue one leaves off. And in issue two, she's thrown into a race against time to save a family from being the Dread Fiend's next meal. So it's a very tense, very dramatic situation going on in that issue. It's just nonstop, right? As soon as the issue starts, it just goes and goes and goes. There's a little bit of slowdown in the first issue for world building, but for the most part, that issue as well is very action packed and kind of this crazy trip that just goes.
Okay, so Zathara is the hybrid of a human, and name the race because I'm getting confused between the two races. So
Yeah,
Zathara.
yeah. Well, they're spelled. They look better when you read the. I actually might change the Krakarin's name so they sound a little different, just a little bit, because that's like the first part of that Krakar part anyway. But Zatharan, yes, no, Zakarin, yeah, Zakarin. So Krakarin and Zatharan, but and then Zathara is the name of the girl,
Okay,
Zathara.
so Zathara is half human and half what race?
Zakarin.
Zakaran. So are the red
Mhm.
crystals? Is that something that's genetic in all of the?
No, it's somewhat common among their kind, and not all of them actually have abilities. It's more like a selective thing, like a kind of evolutionary kind of thing their speed is going into at this point in the story. But yeah, they're like, for instance, there's a little boy, a teenage boy named Zayden in the first issue, and he's able to make matter explode, basically. and so like there's a part where he makes some of those soldiers just burst open in the issue.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, that could be
just for instance,
a handy power.
yeah.
um, I see that the book it's a lot of story, and you've done a lot of. It sounds like a lot of backstory. Was
Hmm.
book one? I'm not familiar with it because I've been going over the second campaign. But book one,
Hmm.
was it a 28 page book also?
It was 26.
26
Yeah,
pages. So
yeah,
that's a lot of story to put in 26 pages, and then the 28th page. So I also saw in your campaign that there may be a issue 3 coming out.
yeah. As well as well as this second campaign is doing, things are looking pretty good for issue 3 to be happening. I mean, pretty much as soon as it gets funded, which I'm 155 I think short right now, and then once it gets funded, then yeah, that's the go for issue 3. Um, and you can get issue 1 in this campaign if you missed it. It's actually an add-on to any of the tier 2 or the issue 2 tiers. So once you click on one of the tiers and you get to just, I think it's just before checkout, you can. There's 3 options. You can get the PDF, the unsigned copy, or the signed copy of issue 1.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw in some of the streams that I was watching with you on that some of the people were confused about how to get issue 1. I don't think people are
Yeah,
very familiar with the process. That there are add-ons in
yeah,
Indiegogo, which there are that say if you're doing T-shirts and you have different sizes, you can add add-ons to your Indiegogo campaign, and that's
hmm,
what Scott has done here. Is he's added an add-on so that you can get issue 1. So there's no confusion about that. You can get issue 1 by backing any one of these tiers. Is that correct, Scott?
that's correct.
Okay, and the price on the book, but compared to some of the other Comicsgate books that are out there with higher number of pages, this is not a graphic
Hmm.
novel. This is a comic book. So you pay
Hmm.
a decent price for that comic book. It's a good price. It's $10 for just that's the physical copy. The PDF is $5, and then the physical copy is $10. Won't you go through the tiers first?
Okay. I want to say real quick though, for um, the first issue is cheaper in this campaign than it was the last one. So, for instance, if you wanted to get both the PDFs of issue 1 and 2, that comes to $8. So issue 1 is just $3 this time in the PDF, and then also on the physical copy, it's just $7 for the physical unsigned. So you can get both issues with shipping for $25. 54 pages total of story.
I got you. And that, as far as the PDF price, I mean, I know that you are concentrating on your features. You want to get the physical book out there. And if I were to back
Mhm.
the campaign, I would definitely buy the physical book because I just like the way that the physical, I like
Yeah,
getting it in the mail. I like opening it up. I like seeing the art in my hand. It's just not the same
right.
on,
Yeah, you're right. I'm the same way.
yeah, on the iPad. But if you're looking to just like if you're overseas and there's
Because just like,
yeah, unless you're overseas, or if you're overseas or something and you don't want to pay the shipping, then the PDF is the way to go because there's an issue with overseas shipping. It's just expensive for uh, people to get the book shipped. But $10
mhm,
is a great price for the physical copy for any book. 28 pages. That's more than you'll get from any book in the more pages than you'll get from any book in a comic book store. Uh,
mhm.
and then the autograph is that's your autograph.
Yeah.
I understand. And it's 15. I'm sorry, I started going through the tiers for you.
No, that's cool,
Go
man.
ahead, take it away,
That's cool.
Scott.
Uh, then there's the metallic cover. There's a metallic cover edition. I did a metallic cover for the first campaign as well, and it went really well. Sold a lot of those, but the book itself turned out fantastic. That version of it. So of course I'm a big fan of metallic covers. So I think I'm going to keep doing that with the campaigns, giving that option. And they're just fun. I love metallic covers. They're neat to look at, and move the cover in the light and see the light reflecting off of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Makes the art really pop. The autograph version, and that's 25. And then you can do the metallic. Actually, there's also the regular deluxe package, and that one you get the PDF. You actually every physical copy comes with the PDF just for free, but you can get the in that one you get the PDF, the a signed copy of issue 2, as well as 2 trading cards and an art print. And the art print on that one is going to be the cover art of issue 2, just the art itself. So none of the logo or anything like that, just the actual art.
Okay, then
And then the metallic deluxe, that one is very last one. Everything's metallic, so you get the metallic cover, you get the metallic trading cards. I forgot to, but the art print on that one will be different. It's not going to be the cover art. I'm still in the process of deciding what art piece that's going to be. I should be able to reveal that soon. I'm still kind of waiting on certain art pieces to get done and then make a decision. Um, but like I said, I should be able to reveal that pretty soon. I keep saying that in my shows, but it is getting closer to where I can show what that one is going to be. Um, and then both covers you can get autographs, so metallic version and the non-metallic. And then there's the collector's package, and that one comes with everything that we've already named. So the PDF, both covers, both versions of the trading cards, the metallic art print and the non-metallic art print. And then the All Out Chaos, which is everything I just named, plus a T-shirt that features the cover art of issue 2.
and you have uh, the people have really just pretty much split evenly on these higher end packages. You know, you got seven backers there, six backers there, eight
Mm-hmm.
backers. You know, so uh, people just people like different things, and that's the reason we put these tiers in the campaign.
Yeah.
So you know, if there's something
Yep.
for you
People
know
like
for you.
variety too, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, Brian and Brian both.
Yeah.
That's what we was talking about before the stream. The colors. I really
Uh-huh.
like the
Yeah.
when you saw Brian. Say his last name. I'm not good with last name.
Belando. Yeah,
Belanda.
Belando, and then McNahee is the colorist.
Okay, the McNahee.
Uh-huh.
Where did you where did you find him? Because he is doing an amazing job with this
Yeah.
lens flare
Right.
and the color, and it's just
Uh-huh.
it looks it's really impressive. So uh, I haven't heard of him before now. So
Right. Yeah, they're both pretty, new up and coming. They've done a decent amount of indie books now. They You might know Belan or McNahee from Ravage Kill All Men. It was a big CG book last year, I think it was, or like the beginning of last year.
okay, yeah, I didn't
Maybe the end
realize
of
he's a
2002.
colorist.
Yeah. But I found him actually through the Illustrator. They're good friends in real life, and they worked together before on projects. He recommended McNahee to me, and I looked at his stuff and thought it was phenomenal. Plus the fact that they worked together before, and they showed me examples of their work together, and they work really well together. They're a great team, obviously. So I was
Yeah,
like, "Yep, you're my guy." So yeah.
yep. So I'm from South Mississippi. We eat a lot of crawfish here,
Uh-huh.
and tell me
Mhm.
what this is sticking out of this guy's eye because it looks just
Oh,
like a crawfish tail to me.
right. Uh, that's actually a handle of a dagger.
Okay,
Yeah. It was you see the dagger in the first issue and how that whole thing goes down. Why the dagger is in his eye, but yeah, it's a dagger handle.
okay. All right, man. It's an amazing looking book, dude. It
Thank
is
you.
an you did an amazing job. So when I'm looking at these pictures, these are from book two, or are these pages from book one? All the pages on this campaign that we see are these book two, or are they mixed book one, book two?
The first five pages are in book two, and then the second five below are from book one. And I chose to put both up since they're both in the campaign, really. But yeah, um, so both issues do focus on Zathara at the moment. But of course, the other characters are they'll be fleshed out a little later. I'm kind of doing it in the example will be the Marvel movies, how they set up all the main characters kind of their own thing. Built them up, get their backstories out there for you, and show you their journey, their beginning of their journey, and then they'll unite in a future issue for the first time as a team against one big massive our enemy. Um, and then it'll just keep going from there as far as them as a team and learning how to work together and get over each other's differences and all that fun stuff, learning
Yeah,
strategies and
I understand where you're coming from because what I see a lot of, what I see a lot of people talking about, and what a lot of people are doing, and they may have more experience than I do. Most people do since I'm on my first book, but I see where like people launch a book, and then if it doesn't do too well, then they just throw it
Mhm.
on the back burner, or they just put it in a drawer somewhere and forget about it. But in my mind, this is you're following about the same strategy I had planned on doing. My book's going to be 32 pages, and then I'm going to release the second book, who tells the backstory of some of the other characters. The first book kind of introduces everybody, and then the second, third book are going to tell the backstory of some of the characters. So I think that, but I did that in a smaller book so I could get the books out faster. And
Mhm.
I think that what a lot of the focus on is maybe taking books now, and if it doesn't do well, just putting it on the back burner. But some of these big franchises, it took years and years and years for those franchises to become, they're blockbuster franchises now. But
Mhm.
I don't think, I feel like one book is just not enough. It's just not enough time for people to really realize how, if they like something or not, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I think that there's ways to, I guess, wow your audience um, a, a decent amount in in their first issue. It just it depends on how you structure it, I think. But yeah, you of course can't just make everyone love everything about your story right in at the beginning. Depending on how much you have, how many layers you have of your story. Like for instance, if I you try to do a story where you have all these characters at once in book one and expect everyone just to fall in love with them right off the bat, that's not going to happen. So you have to kind of pick and choose of that, especially like, for instance, we'll say like the X-Men movie like came out. You were introduced to Wolverine, and you weren't given a ton of just it was mostly Wolverine, and a little bit. I think Jean Grey got a decent amount in the first one, and some of the other characters. But it wasn't until the next installments you got a little more of everyone, a little more, a little more. Those kind of like franchise kind of things, how they build that way. The Matrix is a good example too. I think they did a pretty good job of building those characters up and getting you to know them more as the series went on. But yeah, it's just picking and choosing what's you think is going to get people most interested at the beginning to hook them at that first part, and then over time as you go through the series, add more layers, add more characters, add more backstories, and events that come forth, and um, hopefully by the end of your whole story they're gonna enjoy it like crazy. But yeah, it's
Okay,
just
I think there's a 50-50 debate in there. What do you think about cliffhangers? Some people love them and some people
oh,
hate them.
I love them actually. My first issue ends on a cliffhanger. So is the second one, to be honest. Yeah, I for me anyway, when I get a cliffhanger from a movie or what have you, show or comic book or whatever it is, it has a pretty good impact on me. Where now I can't wait to see what happens next. I got to know, especially if it's a really good cliffhanger, and if the characters I really care about, and story that I really care about, I got to see more. So for me, it works pretty well with making me want to get the next whatever it is as soon as possible.
Well, I think the wisdom in making the book smaller is when you land on a cliffhanger is because you can kind of like you said. For me, it works on me because whenever I read something, and I get to the end, it's a cliffhanger. Then I'm wondering what happened, and then
Hmm.
I have all these thoughts going in. Well, what about this? What about
Exactly.
that? And what about this?
I actually love too. Like some movies will do this, whether there's a sequel or not. Like, have you seen Inception, right?
Yeah,
Where they end with him spinning the top, and they said that if the top doesn't fall over, that means he's still in the dream world,
yeah,
and the top doesn't fall over, and it just leaves the audience like guessing, is he still in the dream world? Oh my gosh, I want to know, but they don't ever tell you,
yeah.
and who knows if they ever make a sequel.
Yeah, they haven't. I haven't heard anything about a sequel, so we're still
Hmm.
wondering. But that's what I was going to say. The
Yep.
wisdom in doing the smaller prints is, you can get your book out there. Or in my game plan is to get my book out there quicker, so I don't have people hanging on for a year while I do
Hmm.
a 80-page comic or 100-page comic, which I know people get more value out of that many pages. I think at a certain point,
Right.
page number becomes irrelevant. Like after a certain
Hmm.
cap, maybe people don't even, after 100 pages, I don't know if people, if the value, if the monetary value is there to a certain point. But I think that, but I don't want people waiting a year for me to, put out the next book so that they can see where the story goes from
Right.
there. So I think I like that strategy, and I think that we're on the same page with that as far as that goes. I think we're doing about the same thing. But yeah, it looks like a great book, man. Looks
Thank you.
great. I can't say that enough. Who did the lettering? Was it would-
On the first issue, it was Matt Bowers. He's works for what's that name of that comic company? I think something like Black Fuse or some comics, or I don't know. I can't remember the name of it honestly, but it was an indie company. He's been doing lettering a lot for some time. But and I liked his his style, so I had gotten him for this one. But as we did that first issue, as we did the first issue, he was a little difficult to work with. There was some stuff that he gave me conflicts on doing, so I just went and did it myself. Figured out how to do it, and I'm like, well, hey, shit, man. If I'm going to be doing this myself, why am I got you? So I let him go, and now actually, but I don't have the time to um, letter the book myself and do all the other things I got going on, especially writing the scripts, working a day job, and running the campaigns. So um, my wife actually offered. She was like, I bet I can figure out how to do this. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. And now, granted, she's not like an artist, doesn't draw or anything like that. But I said, okay, well, see, learn Photoshop and see what you got. And she sat down for about a week or two and learned all the different tactics and techniques and what have you. And next thing I know, she's showing me like pages that look just phenomenal as far as the words and the word effects. And like if you scroll up and look at the issue 2 stuff, I mean, she did all that. And I was like, okay, yep, you're my letterer now. And she has a lot of fun doing it. And so
so
now
it,
I can say that she is an artist now, that she's figured out how to do this stuff
so is this her?
and does a
Did
pretty
she?
good job. No, that's not her.
Okay.
That was Matt Bowers. But yeah, that right there, like with the boom on the laser beam there. I'll go back a little bit.
Uh,
Yeah, see that? That's her, and which I thought was a cool effect that she came up with. And then all the rest of the wording there. And if you go back up, see like that with the pop and stuff. I thought she did a pretty good job.
yeah, I think she does, and she's got this little. I like the way she's got this little ghost
Mhm,
outline. She's got the of course the
mhm,
ink line, and then she has a little ghost line outline around it. Makes it stand out from the background. She did a good job.
mhm. Thank you.
She's got it. She's a letterer now. She's gonna have to give. She'll give Eric Weathers
Yep.
a little bit of a rest.
That's great.
Everybody's looking for a letterer.
I'll send him some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. Like, if you get really good, you can become a freelance. And she's like, we'll see.
Yeah. Most good letterers
Build a reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. A lot of them are, freelancers now.
So this is all her?
Yep.
Well, good job. Good job. All right. So I was looking at this image, and I've been doing some thought about it because I've put out a couple videos. I don't know if you've seen them, where I am comparing fine art to comic art. And I noticed this image.
Oh, yeah. I caught one of those the other day.
Yeah. And I couldn't help but notice.
I love your sarcasm in those.
But I couldn't help but notice that this looked like a Frank Ferenzi's art. You know who Frank Ferenzi is?
Huh.
I'm
not familiar now.
I am going to show you. You're in luck.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Got an expert here.
Yep. Let's see. Let me figure out how to share my screen again. Oh, there it goes. I think this is. I gotta find it. There it is. There it is. Can you see this? Is it on?
Oh yeah, I do know him. We did art for heavy metal, right? Yeah. I know this guy. He's one of my favorite artists from back in the day.
His actual name is Frank Frazetta, but I like to play with the name a little bit. But yeah, he's when I saw her coming across the top with that sword, I thought of this, and I thought of this as well. And kind of like the monsters.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, I definitely see it. Yeah, that's great.
A great homage to that. But I do want to say that now, Frank sold. He has I don't see it on these images here, but he has a picture called right here. This picture right here.
Oh yeah, that was real famous. Yeah.
Are you familiar with that? You are.
Yeah, I've seen that image a lot. Yeah.
Do you happen to know how much that picture sold for?
No idea.
5.6.
Of course, it looks like 4.5 or 5.4 at the bottom.
Yeah, it's right here. I didn't realize it was right there. Yeah, but $5.4 million.
That's amazing.
The Egyptian
wow.
Queen. But what I was going to tell you is, if you look at this picture right here, it's all right. It's okay. But Frank don't have any line work skills. See what I'm saying? He ain't got no line work in it. So if Frank,
all his strokes, huh?
Yeah, all of his is just
strokes.
And I think what he does is he probably gets on his iPad, which he's passed away now, but he probably gets on his iPad and he probably uses what's that, Procreate, and he probably just uses that airbrush, which is kind of cheating to do all of this shadowing and coloring and shades and all. So I think if this could sell, let me find her. Where did she go? If the Egyptian Queen can sell for $5.4 million, now I'm going to give you this for free, Scott. I'm going to give you this estimate. I'm going to use my fine art eye to give you. Let's go back to your campaign. Stop share screen. Let's go. All right. So if Frank can do that without any line work skills, and he don't have his wife to letter for him, and he could get $5.4 million for Egyptian Queen, which looks like he used too much Gaussian blur on it. Did you notice? I have to go back to it, but did you notice how blurry it was? I think he used too much Gaussian from the Procreate. So if he could sell that for $5.4 million, I'm expecting in the end of 27 days, you probably going to make, I don't know, it's not as high as some of those other campaigns that I spoke about in my other videos, but I'm looking for you to make around, you probably make right at $10 million. Not even, it'll be off a little bit. Yeah, you'll probably make about $10 million on that.
That would be beautiful.
Because if this is what I'm saying, let me get back over here. Frank, back to Frankie. Because if he could sell that, see, he hid most of his art in the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He's
so it's
just,
scroll highlighted mostly from the pillar.
you see, some people have skill like Brian.
Mm.
And some people, they get by doing things, like, there's a comic book artist out there, and the joke is, he never draws feet. He always hides the feet.
Oh yeah.
Well, you see, Frank uses a lot of shadows. So if you go right here, he's just hiding all
Mm-hmm.
of his art in the shadows. And if you look right here, see,
Mm-hmm.
you can
Yep.
pick them out. You can pick out these traits of
Yep.
these artists that are barely getting by.
Highlights what he's good at, hides the rest. Yep.
Yeah, highlights what he's good at and hides the rest. So,
Mm.
yeah, he's you probably can make $10 million on that campaign.
Nice.
Yeah, yep.
Be Ethan, be Ethan Van Sciver, be like, holy shit.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, one of the things that Ethan I liked last night, he was saying that he's pushing for this year. This would be a $10 million year for Comicsgate, for all the comics that are coming out, that are at least trying get funded and get funding as much as possible. That would equal out to $10 million, and that'd be phenomenal. If we can pull all that off.
That would be
We'll
phenomenal.
see.
Yeah, I hope that we do. But like y'all were talking about last night on the stream, DC, and I'm worried about. This reminds me, I invited another great YouTuber. While we're talking about this is a perfect segue, because I
Hmm.
invited another YouTuber. She just started her channel, but she is
Hmm.
a comic great. So I'm going to
Oh.
share that with you. So, and I'm glad that you get to be on the stream with me. Let me see. This lady right here,
Hmm.
a giant in the comic book industry. Of course, she started a YouTube channel. She put her out her first video, and this is Gail Simone. But look,
Oh. I didn't realize that was who that was. I've heard so much about her, but I've never actually seen her.
yeah, this is her, and this is her YouTube channel.
Uh huh.
She just started February 23rd, 2020.
Uh huh.
Look at the ratio, dude.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
not gonna go too much into that, but
Uh-huh.
this because you said something about the $10 million year and how great Comicsgate is doing. Um, it's it's I wonder how many of those folks like Gail, she's starting her channel because I think she sees the writing on the wall. That
Hmm.
she may start next year. I don't know if it'd be this year because I think it's kind of quick. Maybe
Hmm.
it might. Who knows? But maybe some of these DC creators and some of these Marvel creators start seeing what's happening in Comicsgate and
I was I
happening
was gonna
on
say, because she did that today, right? She did that just today.
Well, it was actually that would be it's the 25th, so that would be what that Sunday?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I was gonna say it would be funny if she did it, today, because what was it yesterday that Dan announced his stepping down,
yeah,
and that she was like freaking out, like, oh shit, I better get started on this. I might be next.
yeah. My job may not be secure, so I think like so many people said on so many other streams that we're going to see a lot of people see what's going on in the indie world and see what's going on with Comicsgate and see what's going on with these Indiegogo campaigns, and they will start making the move, I believe, uh, to YouTube, try to start channels because everybody knows
Yeah.
the common wisdom
I
is
think.
that you start a YouTube channel, build your following, and then produce your comic. But
Mhm.
I think that and about the streaming.
Yeah, I totally see them, having to go that path because, like you said, they gotta find some kind of audience somewhere, and if they're not getting it from writing their comics, making their comics, then you know, they have to become, like us. And I mean, I can see some of them actually becoming Comicsgate. I'm not saying that Gail Simone's going to, but I could see some of them going that route, especially if they see how big our community is, how supportive the community is, and then if they go out and try to do all this on their own, they may, have issues with that. Like I mean, that's one of the reasons why I joined Comicsgate. Besides the fact that a lot of these people, we all agree on a lot of the same thing, but also to find a support and a kind of a platform to grow from and grow out and learn from, and like, I mean, that's why you. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why you're here to learn how to grow your property and
Yeah,
see how far you can take it.
that's the thing about me. And did you do anything before Chaotic Flux? Did you do any campaigns before? It was Chaotic
Mm-mm.
Flux one. Was that your first book?
Yep.
So see, that's where I'm at. I'm at my first book, and what I did is, I kind of stood back in the, I guess I don't want to say shadows, but stood back off to the side and just kind of watched what was going on, and I
Yep.
kind of made a decision from there to, what, this group is supported. There was some infighting, but this group is supporting each other. This group is constantly talking about each other, constantly not talk about each other in a bad way, but retweeting, and they're posting videos for other people, and they're just it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very positive thing to me where they were lifting each other up, and I said, you know
It
what, I
really
want to
is.
be a part of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I figure, I got to do my work, to uh, build my channel, and that's what I think we all need to do is just, build our own audience, and then we draw from each other. And I think that's what the great thing, the unifying factor of Comicsgate is. We all have a common goal, and we all are approaching it in the same way, just trying to help each other out. And when it comes, to my turn, I see Scott. I'm seeing he's trying to push his book, so I have him on my channel, and then I don't expect it, but I would like it, whenever it comes to my turn, that you would return the favor, and that's how I think
Exactly.
that it should work. But
Mm-hmm.
it's I think that, and that's why I joined Comicsgate. But I did stand off and kind of watch for a long time before I decided to, go ahead and fly the banner, I guess to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, streaming wars. Before I
Yeah,
let
I'm
you
a bit of the opposite right now. Where oh, okay, go ahead.
go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead with your thought.
Oh, no, it's cool. Well, I was gonna say I kind of started the opposite where um I had uh I went ahead and started my first campaign before I found Comicsgate, and I had gotten it up because I was trying to raise 6,000 with the first campaign, and I had gotten a little over 1,000 in the 30 days that I had set it up for. Um, and well, I think it was just before the 30 days was up, and then I found Comicsgate, and watched some things and noticed all this. Actually, it was a friend of mine who suggested Comicsgate. And then I started watching, and like kind of like how you're doing, maybe not as long as you were, but maybe I guess about a week or so. And then I decided to start jumping in, and I was already kind of making connections, trying to make connections, but even more so, I was reaching out more and participating in the community and getting in touch with YouTubers and seeing if they would help me out and showcase me and what have you. And after I joined, or after I really got in there, and got started making friends and getting people to notice me in the project, I had made. Well, by the time the first campaign ended, I didn't hit the full goal, but I ended at $4,501. And if you think about like how long it took me just to get over 1,000, and then I made that much more, because I extended the campaign another month, and I got that much money more from all that support and spotlight on the campaign and what have you. One of the things that I was a fond memory of mine too is Antonio Bryce. He had mentioned, because I had done his show before, and then he was on Ethan's show one night, and he brought up my campaign and showed Ethan it, and then Ethan said, "Yeah, this book looks great. Y'all should back it." And when I woke up the next day, the campaign had jumped up over another like $500 overnight. I was like, "Dang!" So that was awesome. Getting mentioned by Ethan and him having that much effect. But those are just really cool examples, I thought, and kind of how I got into, actually how I found Ethan. I didn't mention the last night's show. I mentioned a couple other shows, but I found him through his disdain for Disney Star Wars, because I'm pretty well there with him as well. and I didn't even know who Ethan was until I saw his his take on Star Wars, and then I found out that he's used to work for DC and he was in Draw Green Lantern, and then he now has this book called Cyber Frog he's got coming out. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome! And then I heard him talk about Comicsgate, and but this is also before I was really starting my first book. Just a little before that, I think like a month before that is when I discovered Ethan.
Yeah, I found him.
And then I kind of forgot about the Comicsgate thing until my friend mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah. So then I started jumping in all that.
Yeah, I found him because I saw it on Indiegogo. It made like some, I can't remember what the outrageous number was exactly, but it was some outrageous number. It's like, how'd this dude make this much money, off of a comic book campaign? So I went
Right.
and looked, and that's when I started looking into Comicsgate,
Mm-hmm.
what Comicsgate was. And, but, the first thing I found was, like, I forgot what the post was. I can't even remember now, but it seemed very, it was just some back and forth between two people. And I was like, I don't know, I really don't know what all this is. What is this Comicsgate really about? And then after it didn't take long. I said a long time, but it didn't take really too long to realize, that it was a good thing that people were promoting each other and lifting each other up. So that's why, like I said, that's why I started to, run the Comicsgate hashtag. John Malin, I yell at you if you don't pick up your oar, So yeah, pick up your oar, row. But I got the Disney. There's something mentioned on last. I know I'm talking about last night's stream. It's just because I'm still in that conversation, I guess. But Bob Iger is out, of course, at Disney. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wonder about YouTube picking up. I'm expecting some small studios to make create streaming services, which everybody and their mother seems like they're making a streaming service now. Whatever, if you have any kind of audience, you're making a streaming service. So I'm not expecting all of those streaming services to make it. So I'm wondering.
Oh no,
I'm
no,
wondering.
not at all. The way I kind of see it too is, I mean, I look at massive multiplayer games. I used to play them a lot. I haven't played in a while, but like I used to be into World of Warcraft and stuff like that. But what I was getting at is after WoW came out, there was so many of those. Like everyone, that was a game developer pretty much was trying to make one. And then the market just got totally flooded with them. And World of Warcraft was still dominating to this day. I think it's still the most successful one, or it continues to be the most successful anyway. And and it's just that there were so many that just either had to go free to play or get canceled, dropped off, lost in history. And I can see the same thing happening with all these streaming services. The market's just not big enough for to have like it almost seems like eventually there's going to be as many streaming services as there are cable channels now.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
why
a la
and in the
carte.
long run, if you think about it, if you add all those up, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be way more than just buying cable.
Yeah, if you add all of them up, but that's what I was saying. It's more a la carte than cable would be. But I'm wondering,
Hmm.
you have Apple, you have Disney Plus, and you have YouTube, of course. And I'm wondering, if those three big players are still, in the end, everything's said and done, those three players are probably still going to be the. I mean, there may be one or two studios that's hanging on, but I think that all of those bigger companies will wind up gobbling up those smaller ones, just like they do with all of these other properties.
Hmm.
And
Some of these, you look at the movie studios too. Look at Disney buying Fox, and there's a lot of talk that they're going to get Universal here. I think it's 2023. There's a contract I've heard that keeps Universal from being bought by anyone, but that's supposed to run out in 2023. And they have talked to Disney about buying Universal once that happens. So then that's another one that and it makes you wonder, like, is the movie industry really doing so bad that they just have to give up and sell off everything, and is Disney going to end up owning it all, or at least a couple of companies? I know Sony's been on rocky ground for a while as well. If it wasn't for the Spider-Man movies and Jumanji, I've heard a lot of talk often about them falling.
well, at some point, Disney becomes a monopoly. They own
Hmm.
everything. They'll own
Hmm.
everything. So, and they'll own all the properties that we love, because if they buy Universal, that's that's everything. I can't think of many properties that don't belong to Universal or belong to to
Yeah.
Disney
Well,
Marvel.
because I mean Sony, but they're in Marvel or Disney's pocket with the Marvel, with Spider-Man, and let's see what else is there. There's like I guess Lionsgate, but I don't know if they really make anything anymore. I know there's at least one. Oh, Paramount. Paramount's still out there, but they hardly make anything anymore. So, yeah,
So something I've been
he
thinking.
make,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just gonna bounce this idea off of you. Something that I've been
Mhm.
thinking about is, you know, like me and you, I started my story. It wasn't 20 years. It was probably, I don't know, 2 years. I was talking to my wife about, Evermatter, about the story, and I was like, and I got good feedback from her, and then I started talking to a few more people and about what I wanted to do, and so
Mhm.
probably 2 or 3 years, I was going over it, got everything lined out. So I didn't write the story to get a streaming deal. Is what I'm trying to put out there, and I know that you didn't either because you've been working on yours for
Right,
20 years.
right.
But with all of
No.
these streaming services popping up, I think there's going to be a rush for
Mhm.
content, and that content, what is better than a comic book with the storyboard is already laid out for you? So I think that
Mhm.
a lot of there's going to
Exactly.
be a lot of
I I think you're. Yeah, I think you hit the hammer or the what's the
the
metaphor,
nail, the hammer, the
the
nail on
nail
the
on the
head.
head. Yeah, nail. Yeah, because I mean, you look at like Netflix has been doing that more here, where like they did Umbrella Academy, which was an indie book that I think it was the guy who did, or one of the guys from My Chemical Romance who created that comic, and they bought that up and made a series, or yeah, series out of it, and this is coming off of after they let go of Marvel. And there's a lot of speculations as to what happened there, but the most I've heard, and I think my theory is that they got tired of paying for that much money for all those characters, and decided to just figure out cheaper ways of still having comic book content, but not having to pay Marvel millions of dollars to use of the properties. And but also I think it kind of comes maybe perhaps from the other way too, where Marvel was like, we just want everything. How they canceled Runaways with Hulu, for instance.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but what I was getting at too is Mark Millar, he's got his own publishing company now, and he's popping out his own books, all the time. And so Netflix has bought all his stuff. They bought his, the rights to all his stuff, and now they're publishing his comics, but they're also going to make TV shows and movies out of all his stuff. And that's I think it's a shining example. What you're talking about, that these companies are one way or the other, they're going to figure out some way of tapping into that comic book, media.
well, Netflix just
And
started the Lock and Key series too, and that's a great
yeah, I forgot.
series.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that's based on a comic too. Yeah,
Mm.
yep.
So they and I think all
Because I've heard a
these,
lot of good things about that story, but I haven't looked into it yet.
yeah, it's a good show if you get a chance to watch it. It's a little boring at first, but then once it gets wrapped up, it's a pretty good show. So I hadn't watched all of it, but I'm
Hmm,
partway through. So Chaotic Flux. Let's go back to your campaign, and I'm sorry it takes me so long to share these screens. Chaotic Flux. Where you at?
cool.
All right. Chaotic Flux, 27 days left, 120 backers. You're 96% of the way there. We need that other 4%. We need that other 4% to
Hmm.
come in and get it funded. Let me ask you, did you, with Chaotic Flux 1, your first book, did you
Hmm.
put money up front for that, or did you actually use part of the Indiegogo campaign? Because you said you've been working on it for 20 years, so I'm assuming that book was going to get created, whether you did an Indiegogo campaign or not. And did you finance that yourself,
Hmm.
or did the Indiegogo campaign?
Yeah, yeah. I put the money. No, I put the money up front for that one. Actually, when I launched the campaign, the first issue was completely finished. I had already paid my artists and got it all done. And like I said, actually before I had given it a shot trying to see if I could get a publisher as well. Before I even did the campaign, and Action Lab Comics almost picked up the book. They were like really close, and then they said it wasn't going to fit in with the things they had planned for 2019 because it was back in 2018 when I submitted it. Um, and Alterna also, Peter, he's considered it. He said I needed to make some tweaks though, but he said, feel free to resubmit. And I did make the tweaks, and I was going to submit or resubmit, but then I decided, I like the idea of being self-published, having the control over all of it, and not having to pay a publisher. So I decided to see if I can do it this way, and maybe maybe down the line in the future, if a great deal comes up, I might still get published. But and so far it's worked out pretty good. I'm enjoying being independent. Like I said, I have all the control, and I can work at the books as I want, and I've been doing conventions too, and that's a lot of fun doing conventions. And not that I'm saying I can do conventions if I got picked up, but still, just having all these freedoms and not having to worry about any kind of deadlines or whatever. And then having creative control over the whole thing. I can make my own T-shirts or whatever I want.
You own the property.
But yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's the great thing
yeah.
about being.
Because there was actually, I take that back. There was. Yeah, exactly. There was a publisher. I can't remember the name of it, but it started with an M. I have to look them up again. It was a weird name, and they're based in the UK. They did actually want to pick up the book, but the reason why I didn't want to go with them is for a couple of reasons. One, they wanted for 50% of all profits. I was like, that's kind of high. They also wanted control of all the merchandising, and they wanted profit from that, and they were only going to print on demand as well. So one of the things I wanted to do was to be able to go to conventions and sell the book and have it in comic book shops, but they weren't going to do any of that. So I was like, nah, I'm not going with you guys.
Yeah, you want to be able to make T-shirts and stickers and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you feel like making.
I mean, they were going to do that stuff, but they were going to be, in control of that. And I was like, I'd rather, like you said, I'd rather, pick and choose however I want everything to be as long as I can.
Yeah.
I hopefully maybe one day I'll get a great deal. I know Ethan's been getting some pretty good, offers and stuff, and he's been, talking about making action figures now and things like that. So I'm hoping that maybe way down the line, once I build it up more, some good stuff like that will come, and
Yeah, well,
we'll
going
see
to
what happens.
conventions and getting on these streams, and that's the way to do that. Did you
Mhm.
Confiscate 2021, the Florida convention? You gonna be there?
I am looking at going. Yeah. I haven't made any kind of plans yet, but I'm also keeping everything open. Do you know what the date is on that?
I think
Like
it.
the month, and
I'm sure.
have they announced it?
I'm 90% sure that it's May of 2021.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. May is a good month for conventions and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, I was actually gonna do a convention in Florida anyway next year. There's a really big one they have out there, but I'm just gonna go. I think I'm just gonna go do the Comicsgate one. I mean, why not? And I would love to see everybody. Meet a lot of these people in person, and all these people that I'm friends with online, and just like the big names. To go and shake Ethan's hand would be pretty cool, and John Malin and and Cecil, and so forth, and just see what all goes on, how this is all going to go down. It's going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to go. I'm planning on going.
Hmm.
If nothing happens, if nothing comes up, then I think I'll be
Hmm.
there, and I'll see you there. I guess if the
Yeah.
same goes for you.
Yep.
So,
And
Cal,
I think to me, I just now thought about it. I think it's important too. I mean, not that I'm saying like you gotta go, but if we, if a good amount of us actually go, like majority of the community, to me that would be a big, hurrah, for Comicsgate, but also just to show, all the naysayers and what have you, and people that doubt the whole thing, and doubting you, all this, and show them that no, we're in this to win it. You're not going away, anytime soon or ever. We're just going to keep it going and keeping it, getting it bigger and stronger, and there's no matter what you do, you're not going to make us stop. So we're just here
well,
to make great stories, great comics, and that's it.
well, if I understand correctly, they're going to crowdfund the whole thing. So,
Yeah, I thought that
artists
was a
will
cool
not have
idea.
to pay for a table. You'll be able to go, and
Yeah.
you'll if as long as you've published a book, you go,
Hmm.
you get a table, and all you're
Hmm.
responsible for is
Right.
your food and your travel and
Right.
the regular stuff.
Yeah, usual convention stuff. Yeah, I was gonna say too. I remember Ethan was saying that he was gonna try to raise enough money to get everybody out there, And then I started thinking about some of the international comic skaters. I'm like, I wonder how much we're going to have to raise for these people, like in the UK and so on, to get the plane tickets and everything. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
Yeah, I would like to see that happen. Those guys, if I could give one of them guys a plane ticket, I would drive.
Hmm.
I'm not that far from Florida, so
Yeah.
it would be that big a drive for me. But from the UK, you would drown. Drive that. So
You got to fundraise them a boat.
yeah, it'd be one of those like you see down there in Florida, the jet boats with the four motors on
Hmm.
the back of it, and
That'd be awesome.
be like a 10-minute ride.
That'd be awesome.
But
Yeah, man. And the more I talk about it, like we are now, the more excited I get excited about it, and yeah, I can't wait.
yeah, I think it'd be a great experience. I think
Hmm.
it'll bring. I think it's smart to do it because I think it'll bring the community together because there's a lot that
Yeah, even more so. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, as far as getting on
There's
streams
gonna
with
be a
each
lot
other.
of new connections. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of great connections going on, and I think it's just gonna strengthen everything.
Yep, people become more real. I think when you see them in person. So yeah, I think
Hmm.
it will. I think it will, and I think it'll bring more people into the community. So
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And one more thing too, like you're talking about networking, and I know when I do conventions, every time I meet more people and make connections with other creators that say, hey, yeah, I'll help you with this and that, and you offer to help them to do things, or a lot of things that happens too, or like trade deals. Like one of the things I did in my last convention, or one of my last ones. Well, I guess it was the very last one. There was a guy that makes a comic called Kinetic, and he was like, "Hey man, I'll trade you your issue, your first issue for." He went ahead and gave me his first four, which I thought was wild.
yeah,
And I decided to go ahead and buy his other four. As he had eight out, so I bought his other four. And so like that. Should say real quick too, John Jiang. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a really big up and coming artist. He's done covers for DC, and he did concept art for the Avengers films as well as the Transformers movies. But he was at the last convention I went to, and he told me that if I ever wanted a cover done, that he would totally do it. I mean, of course, yeah, I don't know what his prices, but still, that was cool that he
yeah,
was like, "Hey, I really like your book. I'd like to do a cover for it."
yeah. I
Oh,
don't,
another really good one too. I met uh, what's his last name? Jim.
it's not.
He has a weird last name.
Uh,
He was an editor for Marvel, and he actually gave Todd McFarlane his start at Marvel drawing Spider-Man, and it was really really cool to meet him. I can't remember his last name. He has a weird last name. A really really nice guy though. He bought my book and read it. He said he really enjoyed it. So that too, like to get a Marvel editor's approval on my book, I thought it was great.
yeah, that's a big ego boost. It's a big
Yep.
it's confirmation. It's affirmation is what it is,
Yep.
and it
Hmm.
makes I'm doing something right. So yeah, that's great, man. I'm proud to hear that for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so like some of the names I know, but I wouldn't recognize the person if they walked up to me
Hmm.
at a convention. So
Yeah, because a lot of people go by their tag names, so it's like, you know, like what's a good one? Like I'm trying to think would be a good like. Well, a lot of the war campaign guys go by
Pan,
certain
like
not
Pan
real
or
names. Yeah,
Ro
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, yeah. You
Yeah,
have to wear like name tags with your alias on there.
yeah, yep. So next step is to get popular enough that somebody is cosplaying. Say her name, Kathara.
Oh, Zathara, yeah.
Zathara. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's one of my things that I want to see one day with some of my characters. Man, if I reach somebody, if they like the character enough that they cosplay it, and I'm thinking,
Hmm.
that would be another one of those big ego boost kind of affirmation, that you're doing something right, that people are
Exactly.
connecting with the characters. So
I I've had a couple of girls at conventions offer to cosplay, or yeah, offer to cosplay or asked if they would mind or if I would mind, and I was like, heck no, go ahead. Yeah, I told them how much I've been wanting to see someone cosplay as her, and I would love to see that. And so maybe in one of my conventions I'm doing this year, maybe I'll see one of them like walk up to the booth as Zara, but I did a show with Shay Zombie,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you ever watched her show, but she often cosplays as a character in whoever she's hosting's book, and she did cosplay as a Zara for me when I was on there. She put blue paint all over her and dyed her hair red.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, man, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Did she do the eyes? Is what I got to know.
No, she said that I think she mentioned something about contacts, but I think the ones she had weren't right, so she didn't do that. But yeah, she totally blue skin, red hair. I think she even had the purple lipstick on because Thor has purple lips. Yeah,
Man, that's
it was
amazing.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
yeah.
All right, dude. Well, I think I am going to just cut it there. We need to
Hmm.
back Chaotic Flux. You are still at, well, let's refresh just to see. You're still at 96%. So
Hmm.
if you're, obviously the stream is about over. So if you are watching this on the replay, go back. Chaotic Flux is a great book. It's a great looking book. And it's, it is what it is. I mean, you can't say no more about it than the art speaks for itself. There's nothing else that needs to be said about it. It's a great looking book, and you can also add book one. There's some confusion about that. You can add if you want book one. You can. That's an add-on at checkout. So just find the tier that you like, uh, and if you want to add book one, just say you're getting the metallic cover, get the metallic cover, and then at checkout, add book one. That's all you have to do that. So, man, I appreciate you coming on, Scott.
Thanks
I
for having
appreciate you
me.
talking to me about everything under the sun and Chaotic Flux. I wish you the best for your book, and who knows, maybe we'll see. I'll see a picture on Twitter of one of those cosplays,
Yeah.
or I'll see you at the Comicsgate 2021
Hmm.
convention. So I'll be looking for you.
I'll be looking for you too, man. Thanks for having me. It
Yeah,
was
no
a lot of
problem.
fun.
Have a great night. I hope that all of your dreams comes true and that your imagination runs wild.
Very well